In a world where sports have stretched beyond the fabric of reality and podcasts became as common as potholes, there were two guys in Morgantown, West Virginia who desired to do something different. These two guys came up with an idea to bring real life back to the arena of sports and hopefully be somewhat entertaining along the way. These two guys are certainly no experts, and they're definitely not comedians. They just think they are. This is the Extra Medium Podcast, and here are those two guys.
And here we go. Welcome, everyone, to Season 2, Episode 6 of the Extra Medium Sports Podcast. How did we come up with the name? It's just because we are just two plus-size guys living in an extra medium world. Hello and welcome, everyone. I am Justin Jackson, sports editor of the Dominion Post.
And I'm Matt Amory, former WVU lineman and state champion at Morgantown High.
Matt, it may not feel like it, but we are smack dab in the middle of Big 12 basketball.
Time flies when you're having fun, my friend.
It may not seem like it right now, but March is just right around the corner, which brings us, of course, to the NCAA tournament. Everyone loves that.
Love the NCAA tournament.
That brings me, I'm going to have a question. I'll go ahead and ask you now.
Oh, let's hear it.
Every year, do you do the brackets?
Oh, yeah. But
for the NCAA tournament?
Well, here's the thing. Every year, it's not a question of doing the brackets. It's a question of doing the bracket of integrity,
right? The
one bracket, or the mini brackets throughout the, do I want to do that? So,
right, you got some guys that go out and fill out 100 brackets.
Yeah, fill out 100 brackets, and one's got to hit and say, look at me, I'm a genius. I don't think I'm going to do the bracket of integrity this year. I think it's going to be multiple brackets.
You're doing multiple brackets.
What about you, though?
That's more money.
That's more money.
Right.
That's more money. But that's also more money out, too. So we'll see what happens.
You know what I do every year? I used to play we used to have like an office bracket kind of pool thing.
Yeah.
We haven't done that in a while. You know what I usually do is when the bracket first comes out, I'll initially fill one out just to kind of, my first reaction, gut reaction kind of thing. I never save it. I never keep it, so I never know really how it works out. But that's really what I don't get into the brackets, the betting and the pool as much as I used to.
Let me tell you, if you want to become a rich man, let me tell you the secret to this. I'm going to fill out a bracket to the best of my ability, and you pick the exact opposite teams and send that to Vegas, and you will become a rich man, my friend.
Well, the reason why I bring it up, I'm wondering if we should do a bracket show.
We should absolutely do a bracket show. Absolutely.
And the winner gets, bragging rights?
Bro, we'll think of something.
Okay.
We got time. We'll think of something. I think it needs to be more than bragging rights. I mean,
talking about college basketball, it really just seems like it was just yesterday when Ross Hodge was being introduced as the WVU men's basketball coach. Now he has his first victory over Kansas.
Let's go.
Under his belt. That came last weekend following an 86-75 victory over the then number 22 Jayhawks. They have since been knocked out of the top 25. We will break down that victory, and we will ultimately, what that means for the big picture.
Well, absolutely. We are also going to talk some wrestling today. As a special guest, in just a few moments, we will have University High head wrestling coach Ken Mizell on the show. Very, very exciting. He's led the Hawks to 2 straight Class AAA state titles and is poised to win his 3rd in a row this year. Going to be an awesome interview, something you're going to want to stick around for.
You've got your wrestling questions?
I got my wrestling questions. Do they
include steel chairs and
table ladders,
right.
chairs? So the first thing, I can't wait to get his expertise, and I'm just asking for a friend, but what would be the best finishing move to use on Justin Jackson? Would it be the Stone Cold Stunner or Randy Orton's RKO?
I can't wait to hear the answer to that one. Before we get to all of that, hey, Matt, let's get over some particulars. Who sponsors our show?
Well, I'm very glad you asked. The Extra Medium Sports Podcast is brought to you by the Hotel Morgan. Whether you're interested in hosting a sophisticated corporate retreat, a joyful baby shower, or a spectacular wedding reception, Hotel Morgan provides a backdrop steeped in nearly a century of Morgantown's history, reimagined with boutique comfort and 1920s era charm. We take pride in making every event a memorable and stylish experience.
And to make it official, where can you find our podcast?
I'm glad you asked that as well. You can also find a link to the Extra Medium Sports Podcast at www.dominionpost.com, or you can find us on social media at Spotify and YouTube.
Okay, it is now our honor, time to welcome in 2-time and defending state wrestling champion coach Ken Mizell to the show from University High. Coach, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Coach, I want to begin this discussion on University High wrestling, but first I want to drop some knowledge on Matt here for a second.
Oh yeah, drop some knowledge on me, man.
Coach, if I'm not mistaken, you are from Amityville, New York. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So obviously, and then this is kind of a question I've been dying to ask you for a long time. Obviously, Amityville, New York is known for the horror picture from the early 80s, late 70s.
Yep.
Growing up in that area, it's loosely based on a true story. Am I correct?
That's correct.
So growing up as a kid, did you know where that house was? Were you forbidden to go to near that house? Well, what was that like?
Yeah, so not forbidden to go by it, but 100% knew all about it. I mean, I was a kid out in the yard playing football, and if you turned down one wrong street to go to the house, you were on my street, and we had people all the time, where's the house? Where's the horror house?
Yeah.
We were instructed by our parents to give them wrong directions. But
I love it.
Interestingly enough, so you said it was based on a true story. So the part that's true is one of the kids in the house, he wasn't a kid at the time, I think he was 19 maybe, he went in the house and shot everybody in the house, mother, father, and I think maybe 4 siblings in the middle of the night. That part is true. And so my dad was a teacher and a wrestling coach, and actually had that kid in class.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that part is true. And then, what we've always been told is that the family that moved in after that happened had this book in mind right from the start.
I see.
They were going to say all these things happened and so forth. And so that part is not true. The house is still there. It's a beautiful house. Actually, somebody who wrestled for my dad they don't live there now, but has lived in that house. So, but yeah, it's kind of interesting in college. It was kind of your first line talking to girls in college.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That icebreaker
nobody
right
knows
there.
it now, but back then, it was still pretty fresh in people's minds.
You came to Amityville, New York. You were recruited to WVU to wrestle for Coach Craig Turnbull.
Yep.
That was your first introduction to West Virginia? It
was. Yeah, I think I was lucky to know that West Virginia was its own state when I was in high school. And, he started recruiting me, and it came down to West Virginia and Syracuse, and I picked West Virginia, and, one of those things that people fall into, you come here and then you never leave.
Right. I didn't know Syracuse had a wrestling program.
Well,
Coach.
You know what? They don't, and I was glad I picked West Virginia.
Yeah.
2 years after that, they dropped the program.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, so I made the right choice. Two good friends of mine, one was at Syracuse, transferred to Old Dominion and became an All-American, and the other one, interestingly enough, transferred to Iowa and is now the head wrestling coach and has been the head wrestling coach at Ohio State for a long time.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Yeah. But he started at Syracuse.
So you now I'm trying to remember when you first took over the University High wrestling program. It was 94, 95. Give me the time frame there.
95, 96 season.
95, 96. So I was telling Matt the story earlier. When you first you couldn't really call it a program at that point.
No.
I remember you were trying to at that point trying to figure out how to get enough guys to fill out the weight classes. I mean,
for sure.
Yeah, just those early days. I mean, when you think about where the program is now, having won 2 state titles, and you think back to those early days, does it kind of make you appreciate the journey?
It does. It does. It was a long journey.
Sure.
There were some years that were rough. And you were around for those years. It was rough, and one of the first things we had to do is get wrestling in our middle schools. That was really even job one before we even were identifying kids, the talent, trying to fill weight classes. Like you said, was if we're going to do anything, we've got to get wrestling in our middle schools, and so that was job number one before we even did anything else. And
then, obviously, one of the things that I was trying to talk to with Matt is back in those days, and even to this day, we talk about the dominance of Martinsburg in football. over the last few decades. That's what it's been with Parkersburg South in state wrestling. I mean, when you first started out, there were points, just getting a dual match with them, right, was an accomplishment. And
that's exactly right. I mean, they wouldn't wrestle us,
right?
And I don't blame them. So we couldn't even get on their schedule, and didn't. Quite frankly, I don't know that we wanted to be on their schedule.
Right.
Yeah.
And to go from that to now, last Friday we beat Parkersburg South 60-12. It means a lot. Now Parkersburg is the better team right now. We'll wrestle them next week. But yeah, it does mean a lot, and it has been a long journey. And it's hard for people to understand this, but we had to. And the big process was changing the culture.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Right? Wrestling wasn't cool. The people that wrestled were like, oh, you wrestle? And it wasn't cool, and a lot of people didn't do it. And even still to this day, this is a basketball community.
Sure.
And you have a 6-year-old, what do? You put him in basketball. Well, now for many, many years we've had our wrestling club that there's another option. You don't have to put him in basketball. There's a wrestling club in town for kids. And those things... so when you start at 6 years old and you're in the club, you're changing the culture because you've been a wrestler all that time. And now, and of course, success has a lot to do with this. It's kind of cool to be a wrestler, and people look up to wrestlers. But again, that comes with success.
That comes with time, right? I mean,
and it took time. That's right.
Hey, Coach, it's awesome how you have built this program from scratch. I want to ask, back to your earlier days, when you could get a kid to come in, what did they think wrestling practice was like? And were they wrong? Did you have any guys come in think it was going to be some pro wrestling or anything like that?
Yeah, I don't know if it was that far, but I can tell you, the first day, my first year teaching, I was a volunteer assistant. My second year, I was the assistant coach, and then my third year is when I got the head coaching job. And I remember my very first year going into what is now the Mountaineer Middle School gym lobby. That's where practice was. And watching and saying, oh, they must have JV practice first because it's small, and then they're going to have varsity practice after. And no. Varsity practice.
That was
And so it was like, oh, okay. So that was kind of my first impression. But yeah, I think there were some kids that probably had no idea what it was. But again, the kids we were getting were the kids that they weren't good enough to play basketball. They weren't good enough for really hardly any sports, and so they wrestled. And you're not going to be successful in any sport if you don't have some of the best athletes. I don't care who you are.
Right.
And so, that it was a process to start getting those athletes.
See, Coach Matt wanted to ask you that question because his wrestling is, steel chairs,
right,
the steel cages, and but you probably remember Matt from back in his day at Morgantown High, right? I mean, could you have turned him into a wrestler back in the day? You think, or
what's your last name, Matt?
Amory, Ameri. Well,
oh yeah.
Well,
okay.
Here's the thing. Just asking for a friend, we would want to know what would be the best finishing move to use on Justin here, whether it be the stunner or the RKO.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. My son, who's a sophomore now, when he was little, he somehow started to get into that, which, wrestling people mostly are kind of against that. Like, I don't want that. That's
absolutely.
Not real
Absolutely.
wrestling,
Absolutely.
So it kind of hurt my heart when he was kind of liking that stuff. And we bought him, he had the little action figures and the whole thing. He's since luckily grown out of that, but that was a thing in his life for a short time.
So, Coach Mizell, I have a story that might put a little smile on your face. Now, playing football, I was getting scholarships, big guy,
Sure.
big muscles. Thought I was the man. Well, we had a wrestler on our team, and his name's Anthony Fucello. Wonderful wrestler.
I remember him.
You remember?
Absolutely.
So, one day I was just like, let's see what you got, Fuccello. He's like, you want to wrestle me? I said, I didn't stutter, did I, buddy? Well, little did I know Mr. Fuccello was going to use all my strength against me, and he literally turned me into a pretzel. I was 6'5", 280 pounds. He turned me into a pretzel. I didn't have the hip flexibility to even be turned into a pretzel. I couldn't tap out. I told Justin this story earlier. He goes, you're not supposed to tap out. I said, well, I couldn't call my mom. Like, what did you want me to do? Both my contacts came out, and I learned that day, and I still have this with me today, if someone is a wrestler, don't mess with them. Don't make them mad. Just yes, sir, no, sir. Or even now with the female wrestlers, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am.
Oh, yeah. And that's one of the things, especially now that we're better, we try and get across. We're not just bullying people and throwing them to the ground, right? There's a technique.
There's a science
of getting angles and using their pressure against them. And, wrestling, just like any sport, there's a lot to it that people don't realize.
Coach, when we sort of got you penciled in for a third state title, by the way. Just
well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, he said thanks a lot.
If it does come to fruition, obviously the first one means a lot. Having gone through the long journey to get there. A second one's pretty sweet. What would a third one mean to you?
Well, it would be awesome. I mean, it's never been done here. As a matter of fact, I don't know that it's been done anywhere except for in AAA, like you mentioned, Parkersburg and Parkersburg South, and then back in the day, Oak Glen in AA, and Point Pleasant, I think, has done it. But that's it. So it would mean a lot, But the negative side for me, and I think this is true of a lot of coaches. You hear coaches talk about this. It becomes the standard. So it's almost like you can't enjoy it. Like we're in the middle of our season right now, and I've got a spring and summer calendar already thinking about, okay, how are we going to do it next year? I spoke with the middle school the other day about some things, and I told them, I said, how are you guys going to keep it going?
Right.
And so it's almost a curse that it's so exciting to win it, but all you think about is how are we going to do it next year? How are we going to do it the year after that? Because once you've done it, now second sucks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you're constantly thinking about how are you going to, because what you got to develop kids. And so you got these kids that come in and they've maybe wrestled in the club and they're pretty good, but they're not there yet. So you gotta develop them.
That's a good problem to have, though, Coach. Right?
It is.
Well, Coach,
I'd rather have it than the other way.
Sure.
Well, Coach, let me ask you, in your opinion, which one is harder to coach when you first come in and you say, the guy, I guess the JV's starting first and come to find out, or when you have the program culture established to where it's so high, the expectations are so high, not winning the state championship is almost a disappointment.
Yeah, it's actually a great question because they both certainly have their challenges. When we first started, I remember telling my wife, because, I had a successful high school wrestling career, wrestled at the Division I level. You're used to a certain level. And then when you're coaching and, your kid getting pinned, it's rough on you. And I remember telling my wife, I think I'll give it 5 years. If after 5 years we can't build something, then maybe it's either I can't do it or this isn't the place for it, one or the other. And in that fifth year, Justin, you remember the old NCAC?
Yeah.
In that fifth year, we won the NCAC. And we were the only team other than North Marion and Fairmont Senior to ever win it.
They were the powerhouse back then. Yeah.
Yes. And so that's when I said, okay, well, maybe we can do something here. And so I don't know that I have an answer. I think both definitely have their challenges, but I probably lean towards being good and staying good is harder.
Coach, to that degree, there's always something I've kind of been fascinated when it comes to state, and whatever you want to call them, dynasties or powerhouses or I usually kind of look at it from a football standpoint, where a program has a generational type kind of guy, talent, so to speak, like Nitro with J.R. House, something like that. You had one of those kind of guys the last 4 years with Brock Keeler.
Oh, yeah.
And the part that always fascinates me, that I always kind of looked at, is what happened to those programs after that guy graduated.
Yep.
Brock obviously is now at West Virginia, so he has graduated and moved on. So I guess two questions here. And obviously one guy doesn't make a wrestling team because there's, 13 weight classes, right? Or
14.
14.
Yep, 14.
So one guy just wins a state championship. That's not going to win a state team title.
Right.
But to have that type of talent with Brock, first, what was it like to coach that kind of kid who only comes around maybe once every, 10, 20 years?
Yeah.
And then two, the program after he's gone, you're obviously, keeping the standards high. That doesn't always happen.
No. Well, you're not going to find a better kid than him. And sometimes you have a kid who's a great athlete, great football player, great basketball player, whatever, but maybe not such a great kid. This kid, you can look, but you can't find anything wrong.
Yeah.
Like, he's a 4.0 student, and he continues that. His first semester at WVU, he got a 4.0. He's a great kid, a great leader. Obviously, you saw what kind of wrestler he was. So I think what you have to try and do is tell kids, be that.
Good luck, right?
Yeah. We actually had a talk in the wrestling room after the Parkersburg South match. So, we beat them pretty bad, and the kids were excited. But there was a couple of things with people, I don't want to say running their mouth. That's not the right word, but I just didn't care for it. So we were in the wrestling room like we always are after a match, and I said, look, there was a lot of good, but let me get the bad out first. I said, we don't act that way. We don't do that. We want to be the kind of program that people say, God, I want to hate them so bad, but they're such good kids, I can't hate them. And so we want to conduct ourselves in ways that people don't just look at the wrestling. We always say we want you to be, in this order, a good person, a good student, and a good athlete.
Yeah.
And, there were some things the other night, and it was nothing bad, and I don't know that it was anything anybody heard or anything like that, but it was something I wanted to nip in the bud to say, again, back to your question, would Brock have done that? No, he wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Right? And so, I think the best thing about having somebody like Brock is to be able to say, be like that in all ways, not just being a good wrestler, in all ways. In your grades in the classroom, in your behavior, in how you treat people. And so Ryder Hastings, who's our 215-pounder this year, he eats lunch with the special needs kids. Right? That's just the kind of guy he is, and that's the kind of people we want on our team.
Oh, absolutely.
So, but Brock was definitely special. And, you wouldn't – he's big and he's strong and he's physical and he's pinning guys in 30 seconds. And we go to New York, and we're in New York City, and he's all excited about buying this Lego kit that he's going to put together for his girlfriend. Right? He's just you wouldn't know when you see him on the mat that he's that kind of kid.
Yeah. Matt, just to give you an idea of who Brock Keeler was and what he meant to the University I program, Coach, correct me if I'm wrong, I think in the history of high school wrestling and the state, there's only been 27 four-time state champs, something to that effect?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's not a lot.
And Brock's one of them. Brock's one of those 27.
Well, he sounds like he's truly a one of one. And Coach,
well, and to also not even be a four-time state champ, but he had one high school loss in his career.
He got knocked out in that match.
And he got knocked out, right?
He got hit with a steel chair, man.
Oh, come on!
So he was special for sure.
Coach, how do you balance being? Wrestlers are the toughest athletes how do you balance this being tough with caring for your athletes? Because not only are you talking about getting the most success out of them from an athletic standpoint, but also developing their character and developing them as a person.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it goes back to what we said with culture, that, every year I give them, around this time, I give them a grade sheet to take around to all their teachers. And I know that I can go online and check their grades, but I make them take it around, give it to their teachers. Their teachers can write comments, and most of them are really positive. And we want the expectation, without me saying it, is you get good grades. You don't get in trouble in school. If you're going to be part of this program, this is the culture, this is the expectation. And it's not necessarily me, it's just that's what the kids all do, and they know that's what's expected. So if you're going to be the kind of kid that's going to go, you're going to drink and you're going to vape and you're going to do this and you're going to, then you probably don't come out for wrestling, because you'd realize that that's not going to be acceptable.
Those are the kids that hang out with me right there.
Stop.
Hey, Coach, I got a bunch of questions here on my notes. Sure. I want to talk to you about. But last week you were honored with the locker room being named after you. Could you just kind of talk about what that honor was like? I mean, your name's up on the door now, and it's obviously a room that you didn't always have. It wasn't always there, right? And it was part of the building of the program.
It was, and I'll be honest with you, and Justin, you know me a long time, I'm not real comfortable with it. And I mean, the article was great, but really the locker room is named for the Scott Marshall family. Like, there was a monetary amount to say, hey, if you donate this amount, you get naming rights for the locker room. And he did that. And when he did it, and we were getting close to being ready to put stuff on the door, I said, hey, you paid the money. What do you want on the door? Let me know what kind of wording, what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And he sent me, I want it to be called the Ken Mizell Locker Room. I said,
wow.
No. I said, you paid this money. What are we going to, what are we going to do? And he sent me this thing, and it said just what it says. I think it says, the Ken Mizell Locker Room, sponsored by the Scott Marshall family. And so I was very honored, and it does make coaching worthwhile when somebody who wrestled for you 20 years ago, their parents still remember what you did for their kids, not from a wrestling standpoint, but from everything else, and donate that money and say they want your name on it. So it is very special, but it is the Scott Marshall family locker room, really, not the Ken Mizell locker room.
Well, you thought you were going to be here 5 years. It's been 30, and now your name's going to be on that door for another 200 years or whatever.
Yeah. Beautiful, man. This is a beautiful story.
It's special. There's no doubt it's special, but it was the Marshall family that wanted that wording. I tried to talk them out of it, and it's just the kind of people they are. They're great people, and they had the means to be able to make that donation, and we would not have the locker room without it.
Coach, I was trying to tell Matt before we started the podcast today, just like what the state wrestling tournament was, how chaotic it is. It's like, what, eight mats, right, or 10?
Yeah. 8 mats.
8 mats. Matches are going on all simultaneously, all going on. It's really chaos.
It is.
For 3 days.
Yeah.
One of the traditions, this is something I didn't get into, one of the traditions, though, Matt, is once you get to the championship rounds, over the course of the first 2 days, the wrestling coaches are in their normal, sweats and, T-shirts.
Yeah.
Right.
Once you get to the championship matches, Coach Mizell knows this very well, they wear suits. The coaches.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Coach, I mean, it took a while for you to get to wear the suit, right?
It did.
And now you're wearing it, for hours on day on that final day.
Yeah. It used to be you didn't even bring it.
right.
And now you bring it every year, in hopes, But it's definitely changed.
It's going to get to the point where you're going to need a couple of them.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. I hope, but yeah, it is, and it just kind of makes it special. But Justin, you mentioned that the chaotic, and it's now worse because of something you mentioned before, but the addition of the girls.
Yeah.
I mean, it is crazy now.
Well,
I don't know.
And is it 3 classes now, or is it still?
Still 2. It's 2 classes.
Okay.
And they call it now Division I and Division II.
I see.
They just changed that this year. It was always 2 classes, but there was AA and single A was together, and then AAA was one. Now there's just 2 classes, Division I and Division II.
Well, it'll be just wait till next year when they turn wrestling into like a quad A, right?
Well, I don't. I'm on that committee, and I don't think we will, just because there's not enough small schools that field full teams to have 4 divisions.
Well, it doesn't stop them in the other sports.
Well, listen, I don't think. Look, I come from a state in New York where until recently it was 1 division, 600 schools, 1 division. California still has 1 division in wrestling. New Jersey still has 1 division. And here we are, a state as big as we are.
With 2.
And for football and basketball, we want 4 divisions?
Yeah, Jay. Well said, Coach.
I mean, I think it's a little ridiculous. I think in wrestling we should probably have 1 division. Now, would we win as many state titles? Would we have as many state? No, we wouldn't. But, I mean, it's not a very big state. And it's not getting bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
No, right. Yeah. Except in the Eastern Panhandle. That's about it.
Right. So I mean, 2 divisions is fine, but I think if we went to any more than that, it would be a little bit ridiculous.
But yeah, it's chaos, man.
I mean, it honestly sounds awesome. I've never gone to one. For our listeners, when is it and where is the state championship? I mean, this sounds like it would be an awesome thing to watch if you've never seen such a thing.
It is, and the other nice thing about us getting better is our crowd base has gotten bigger, right? Everybody wants to support a winner. Nobody wants to support a loser.
Absolutely.
Right? Nobody went to Indiana football game until the last 2 years.
Well said.
Right? And so it's exciting. I've got so many great memories and pictures of the last couple of years of our crowd. Maybe we got an upset or we got a big win and our crowd just going nuts. So that part's super exciting. But it's at the end of this year it's the beginning first week of March, and it's down in Huntington at I think now it's called the Marshall Health Arena, maybe. Now there is talks of it moving.
Oh, really?
Years, yeah. But since I've been the coach, it's been in Huntington every year.
Now, I was telling Matt, I mean, the one thing that, you have the chaos going on the arena floor with 8 matches all going on at the same time. And I was also telling him that on one side of the arena, you had the Parkersburg South fans. On the other side of the arena was the Parkersburg fans, and they're going back and
couldn't
forth
even imagine
at
that.
each other. So now, which side do your fans sit on?
Well, typically we've been on the south side, the Parkersburg South side, which has posed its challenges.
Sure.
It has definitely posed its challenges. There have been some incidents that, obviously I wasn't up there, but there were.
See, this is why we wanted to bring you on, Coach. You give us the scoop, man.
There's been some incidents where people were, asked to go outside and things like that. There's one incident, I won't give the name, but
sure.
There was a wrestler and his parents were extremely supportive, but very rough, very blue collar, and something happened with some South people, and the mom, not the dad, the mom, used to wear all this jewelry, and she's like taking off her rings, like, come on,
boy.
kid,
oh boy,
let's go.
Yeah, once the jewelry comes off now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You gotta run.
It was, just recently, and it actually wasn't at States. It was at the WSAZ tournament, which is in the same arena.
Oh, okay. That's coming up this week, right?
At end of the month.
End of the month, okay.
OVAC's this week. But anyway, Pepper Martin wrestled a girl in the finals, and this girl's legit. Like, she's the number 1 girl in the country. She's really, really good. And, of course, everyone's rooting for the girl.
Sure.
So Pepper beats her. And there was nothing bad. It was a good match. Pepper beats her. And there were some South people, like, booing.
Mm.
And he got up when he got his award on the award stand. He's booing, and at this point, I was in the stand, and they're booing, and it's like you're booing him because he won a wrestling match. He didn't poke her in the eye. He didn't do anything bad. You wanted the girl to win. She didn't win. She gave great effort, but don't boo a kid because he beat a girl.
Yeah.
And it's just that kind of thing.
Yeah, those South fans, man, they're nuts.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where you find yourself like, stay classy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we sit on that, which is probably for the best because right now the rival is Parkersburg, and they sit on the other side.
Right.
So, it's a lot of fun.
Tell your guys to go sit on the Parkersburg side this year, right?
Well,
what could go wrong,
what
right?
We should do. Yeah, right. What could go wrong?
Coach, you mentioned it, and we talked about this a year ago when Brock was signing for WVU. I had no idea the women's wrestling, high school wrestling, it's one of the fastest growing sports, not only in the state, but in the entire country. How did this come about, and what changes will this eventually bring to the sport? And just what are your thoughts on the can we call it a phenomenon, or what is it here?
So in the country, and maybe in the state too, it is the fastest growing sport in the country, and it's great. It poses logistical issues. At the state tournament, they've added girls to the OVAC tournament this weekend, which has added some things. And I'm not saying it's bad; it's awesome. And we have 6 girls this year. I think if they would sanction it, we would have more. The problem is it's a revolving problem, right? That a lot of the girls don't want to wrestle guys. They just want to wrestle girls.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so the SSAC says, well, we're not going to sanction it until we have, I don't know what the number is, but X number of teams that have X number of girls.
Greater numbers than what there are now, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but then I have girls that would be on my team, but they're not on my team because, well, if I ever have to wrestle a boy, I'm not going to come out for the team. So I think if we did sanction it, we would have more girls.
Those numbers would increase pretty quick.
Pretty quick. And so, it's great. It's great. And it's happening, but it's not just here. It's happening everywhere. And so I think it's great. We have girls wrestling in the Olympics. I mean, so why not get them started?
How did it come about? Do you have any theories on what suddenly made it popular for women?
So I think it just started that, some teams had a girl on their team, some teams didn't, and then it became more, and then a little bit more. And then finally some teams said, well, we got enough girls to just have a girls' team. And that and then it exploded all over the country.
Right.
Like Pennsylvania, we go up to Canon McMillan High School for a scrimmage, and they have a whole wrestling room, just girls. They have 2 wrestling rooms, one for boys, one for girls. So out in Fargo, North Dakota is the national tournament. I mean, everybody wants to call themselves a national tournament, but this is the national tournament, and they have a girls division. And when they first started, I think there was like 400 girls, and then the next year there was 1,500. And then it just continues to exponentially grow.
Wow.
And so, it's a big deal. I just, I need a girls' coach. And they won't give me a girls' coach until it's sanctioned, which I understand.
Sure.
I'm not complaining to our administration. And then not even for the wrestling part. Our girls, our 6 girls, are in the room with us. They do what we do. They don't complain for a second. They don't sit out. They don't cry. They do whatever all the boys do. So I don't have any problem coaching them wrestling. It's all the behind-the-scenes logistical things that people don't see that I feel bad. They're like, hey, Coach, we need a weigh-in sheet for this weekend. Oh, shoot, I forgot to make that weigh-in sheet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That I am doing them a disservice by being the boys and the girls coach. So hopefully it'll get sanctioned. We'll get a great coach, and things will just be skyrocketing for them.
Now, if it were to get sanctioned, would they have their own state tournament, right? Would it also be in Huntington, or would it be a...
Well, they do it now. They do it now. It's just not sanctioned. It's just kind of a tournament that they call the state tournament that's not, quote-unquote, sanctioned by the SSAC.
Does it go on the same time as the boys' state tournament, or...
It does.
Okay, all right.
It does. You talk about the chaos.
Oh, yeah.
You've basically added another tournament.
Right.
Wow.
No, essentially.
So instead of having two tournaments, the Division I, Division II, now you've added a third.
Okay.
And the Huntington coaches are very good friends of mine, and it's just added a huge logistical thing for them.
Now, do the girls, do they have a choice? Could they still wrestle?
They do have a choice.
Okay.
They can't do both. So, like, if you want to wrestle in boys regionals and qualify for boys states, you can do that. But then you can't wrestle in the girls tournament.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if we'll get to a point where, one weekend's the girls tournament, one weekend's the boys. Because right now, even this, it's too big. It's too big. Not just from a
well, you can only have so many
standpoint,
mats, right?
Yeah. Well, not even just that, but from a time standpoint, it's too big. And so I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but it is great for these girls. And I'll tell you what, some of them are really good. I've got a couple on my team that they're starting to get it, and they're good.
Well,
it's not just a novelty.
Last year you had one signed for college, right? For West Liberty, right?
Yeah. I was really proud of last year's class. We had 5 boys and 1 girl, seniors, and every single one of them is wrestling in college right now.
Wow.
And that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're all wrestling in college, and that's kind of what it's. Obviously you're not going to have all your guys in any sport competing at the next level. But that's what a lot of these kids want to do. And back in the day, Justin, there was nobody going to wrestle in college.
They just wanted to survive, right? Yeah.
And now to think that that's their goal. These freshmen come in and they want to wrestle in college. So it's great.
Yep, it's definitely a coach. It's a sign of what you have accomplished. It's been a journey of a million steps, right?
It has.
But it's definitely a sign of what you have accomplished over the years. I remember those early days. When I look at the program now, it's completely night and day. Congratulations on your journey and where you're heading for in the future. Well,
I appreciate that, and I really appreciate you having us on.
Well, like I said, we've already got you penciled in for a third. We might put you down for a fourth, right?
We'll see.
Get that suit ready, Coach. Get that suit ready, brother.
I got that calendar already set for the spring and the summer, so we'll see. We'll give it our best.
Coach, we really appreciate the time. Thank you so much for the knowledge.
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.
One more time, Matt, if you will. Who is our sponsor?
The Extra Medium Sports Podcast is brought to you by the Hotel Morgan. Host your guests in an elegant setting utilizing our refined meeting spaces, including 2 dedicated boardrooms and state-of-the-art conference technology. Elevate your event with delicious catering and craft cocktail service delivered by our on-site cafe and bar, Anvil and Axe.
It is now time for our favorite segment. We call it What Caught Matt's Eye.
Matt's eye, let us know what is caught Matt's eye.
Matt's eye, what caught Matt's eye? I need to work on that. Hey, so, going to do a quick Matt's eye today, but what about Coach Kurt Signetti beating Oregon 56-22? Cool guy, man. Reporter says something along the lines of, I know you're already thinking of the next game, the national championship. He went into some coach speak, thank this, thank that. I said, he kept it real, said, I'm not thinking about the next game. I'm thinking about cracking open a beer here.
Sounds like a former Morgantown High quarterback talking right there.
What just so happens, now, I'm looking through Facebook, and a friend of our show, John Bowers, athletic director, Morgantown High coach, former coach, the two-time state champion, had a picture of Coach Signetti who played for Morgantown High. And I didn't realize this, and Coach Signetti is there with Coach Signetti, Kurt Signetti was the quarterback, and the picture has Russ Wheeler as well as Coach Vic Bonfili figuring out the next plays, and he has this mannerism, his nonverbal cue, just looks almost identical to a picture of him coaching at Indiana, so not much has changed. Also, All-State and played at WVU with his pops, but I'm just like, this is so cool to see him and his success. A Morgantown High player, a WVU player.
It's a fascinating subject you bring up because it does tie into the local angle. Here's a kid grew up in Morgantown who has a shot to be the national champion on Monday.
I mean, what he is doing is is it even proper English to say so unprecedented, or do I just say unprecedented?
Unprecedented.
So
sure.
It's unprecedented that even the TikTok social media saying, how's he doing it? He's stealing signals. They can't even explain his success. How cool is that to come from?
At what point did you start paying attention to Indiana football? Because they had a heck of a run last year.
I think what really they had a heck of a run last year. I said I'm going to chalk it up to awesome for Coach Signetti. I love to see it. Great for him. But is he going to be able to keep this consistent? But that win at Penn State, was it? The win at Penn State this year.
Right. That
touchdown in the back of the end zone. I mean, my gosh, like that kind of like whoa. And each game I find them playing, well, good luck, Coach. Good luck. This one might be it. I think that started around the Ohio State game. No way am I don't want to say I'm negative or doubting Coach Signetti by any means, but I mean, that kind of what it is. That Big Ten championship against Ohio State, like, I don't know.
That one was a little surprising.
That was surprising, yeah. And then, we keep rolling on, but what a wonderful story, with roots back to Morgantown.
You think the state of West Virginia is rooting for Indiana come Monday?
Well, I think they're rooting for Indiana even if Coach Signetti's not in there because of I still have nightmares from Tremaine Mack blocking the punt. That might have been 93 or 94
right.
when Don Nealon was coaching. We've taken many losses to these wonderful Miami teams, but I'd say the majority of the United States, maybe except for Florida's cheering for Indiana.
Okay. I'll give you that.
But what about you? What do you think?
Well, what do you think about? I mean, obviously Miami's playing at home.
Yes, to me,
Indiana's never been there before, but they have the look of a team who has been there. The way they've been able to stay composed, not let the moment get too big for them.
It's just been impressive, and you really talk about a team that's not going to beat themselves. I mean, the starting of this.
Yeah, I think Indiana beats them by a couple touchdowns.
Would that be potentially one of the best seasons in college football, too? I mean,
I think it would be just from a story perspective, from the component of the story, the fact that Indiana, up until 3 years ago, basically, it was a basketball school.
Well, all I knew was
Bob
Antoine
Knight,
Randall from Bloomington.
It's Bob Knight, and it's Indiana basketball.
Yes, 100%.
And it's their national championships in basketball. And now all of a sudden, this guy that from Morgantown, right?
Yeah.
Who, worked his way up through the coaching ranks, used to coach at Indiana of Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah.
Coached for Nick Saban as an assistant and continued to work his way up. James Madison, working his way up the ladder. Indiana gives him a chance, and he just took that program and ran with it. From a story perspective, that's got to be one of the greatest stories in college football history.
The Netflix producers are probably licking their chops and saying, "Hey, they win. Let's go ahead and sign this one up." But what a wonderful story, and I thought that would be great for what caught Matt's eye. The tie.
I like it.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Means a lot, brother. The tie back, Coach Sig, to our Morgantown roots here.
You always bring the local angle back.
Well, I'm trying to do that. I learned from the best, a guy named Justin over here.
If he had gone to University High, would you have still?
University? I've never heard of that.
Oh, okay.
Is that a school? Yeah. Is that a local? No. I still would have done it. Hey, huge shout out to University High, man. I like my Hawks.
Yeah, we got them on there too.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt, did you catch the West Virginia's 86-75 victory against Kansas?
Yo, let's go. Are you kidding me?
Your thoughts?
Okay, first I'm like, I don't know what to say. We were talking about this. What was it? The past 3 years, WVU's beat Kansas.
Right.
And it was with a
first-year coach every time.
And
Josh Eilert to Darian DeVries, now to Ross Hodge.
I mean, I think that's awesome. And even the post-game interview, Bill Self was kind of alluding about, what's going on in the Coliseum. I think it's wonderful. I love to see it. And next year when they come to Morgantown, maybe a second-year coach.
Well, I think, it could be a second-year coach next year if Ross Hodge although you could make the joke, well, maybe they need to fire Ross Hodge.
Yeah.
Get another
we get a first-year coach in here.
Right, yeah. No, the issue, well, not the issue, but the conversation, that the win against Kansas, and you can make the argument that maybe Kansas isn't quite the Kansas of,
Kansas of old.
Right. Still, it's Kansas.
It's still Kansas?
The conversation now, I think, has to change now about Ross Hodge, don't you think?
I think so.
Yeah, because obviously up to this point, he's a guy who had coached Division I before, but had never coached in the NCAA tournament. Comes to WVU, loses a big lead to Ohio State, couldn't beat Wake Forest, couldn't beat Xavier, Clemson. And then all of a sudden, Iowa State gave him a pretty good beating. And all of a sudden,
Iowa State didn't miss a shot.
All of a sudden, you start kind of wondering, well, what exactly do we have in Coach Hodge here? And then along comes this Kansas win. I think that is the story. Am I right or wrong?
I think you're 100% right. And I love what I see. And there's hope and much more where that came from. And this is a first year. Imagine establishing the system, getting your guys. I know it's much different with the NIL and transfer portal and all that, so hopefully that'll even happen sooner. But this is a great, great thing. Lord have mercy. I hope he stays around because I think we got to – did Wren do his magic again?
It could be. This might be a delayed reaction, right?
It could, yeah.
When he hired Mark Kellogg kind of took the reins and went running straight to the NCAA tournament. I don't know if Coach Hodge is going to be able to do that this year, but – The end game might be the same.
Is Wren Baker the coach whisperer here?
So here's where we currently stand. After that win against Kansas, WVU is now ranked 70th in the net, which is still obviously not good enough to be considered for the NCAA tournament. If you are going to be an at-large team, Matt, you want to be somewhere in the 40s, as close to 40 as you can get, for the bubble not to burst, so to speak. So they still have a ladder to climb. We record on Tuesday, so obviously they play Houston tonight.
Tough game.
Ranked number 7.
What, are they 15-1, Houston?
Houston is 15-1. They have beaten West Virginia 3 times in a row, all 3 games by double digits, average points of 20. I'm not foreseeing a good night for West Virginia tonight. Now, obviously, the podcast comes out on Thursday, so the Houston game would have already been played. West Virginia has 4 games remaining against top 25 teams, including the Houston game. 2 of those are at home. There are still opportunities here for that net ranking to get better. There's schedule of strength right now for West Virginia, and this is going to be the story against West Virginia right now. It's 218th.
Oh.
Yeah, out of 365 teams. That's their current strength of schedule heading after the Kansas game, heading into to the Houston game on Tuesday. That number will obviously go up. Will it go up to the point? Will that strength of schedule number improve to the point where it helps the consideration? I just don't know. I think that's going to be the number that works against West Virginia pretty much up until March.
100% agree. Don't want to be in a position where you have to win the conference tournament to get your bid, but that might be what we're facing up against. But nevertheless, Coach Ross Hodge, huge shout out, huge win. The real deal, baby.
Here's the question I have. I think you might have answered her. Here's the question I have. If Ross Hodge was a stock right now, are you buying?
Oh, I'm buying.
You're buying.
I'm buying.
Okay.
Because I think I'm buying low.
Absolutely.
I'm
buying. Look at you with your market terms. I love it.
I paid attention once or twice.
Okay.
Well, maybe once. But we're buying low or not even selling high. We'll wait till that happens and as it unravels. But I'm definitely buying low while the stock's low because to me this is a guaranteed money maker from a stock perspective.
All right, Matt. That's it.
I love it, man.
That's all the time we have for today. Matt, we did pretty good today. What do you think?
I thought we did good. I mean, I might be biased.
We thank you for listening. We want to thank University High Wrestling Coach Ken Mizell for joining us earlier. We wish him good luck on the program's quest for a three-peat, which we already have him penciled in for, right?
Oh, yeah. He's going to be – I might have got him for the four-peat, the four-time.
For now, Matt, why don't you take us home?
I definitely will. Thanks for joining us today on the Extra Medium Sports Podcast, which is brought to you by the Hotel Morgan. Select a wedding venue where you can host your perfect ceremony and grand reception in one of our 2 magnificent ballrooms. From the restored historic architecture to the stylish, comfortable guest rooms for your party, Hotel Morgan provides an environment where every guest feels cared for in the heart of downtown Morgantown. Now booking 2026 dates in our brand new 8th floor ballroom. Lastly, this is the Extra Medium Sports Podcast, where couches are safe but the takes are on fire. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you all next week.